In this lecture, you'll learn about the different FAS models, that's fabric attached storage, that are available, their technical specifications, and how they compare to each other. My first few slides here are the same as we had in the AFF lecture because they both run ONTAP. Just as a quick reminder that ONTAP supports varied workloads and it supports all the different SAN and NAS protocols. And when you're choosing the model of AFF or FAS that you're going to use, you want to pick one that is going to match the workload's capacity and performance requirements. And AFF and FAS models can be mixed and matched within the same cluster as long as an HA pair are both the same model. Okay, so let's have a look at the FAS platforms. So I will go to the NetApp website. To get to this page, go to netapp.com and then click on products, and it's under hybrid flash storage and it is FAS. Hybrid meaning that these systems can take both SSDs and spinning disks, our SATA and our SAS drives as well. So let's go down to the FAS controllers. And with AFF, we had 5 different models there. Currently, the current generation of FAS, there's 3 different models available. That's the FAS 2700, the FAS 8200, and the FAS 9000. The bigger the number, the bigger and beefier the system is. Okay, so let's have a look at the specs for each of these models. And before I do that, just a quick reminder again that these specs are per HA pair. So if you're looking for the specs at a single controller, that would be half of the number here. This is for both of them in the HA pair. When you're looking at any specs anywhere, you need to be aware of, is this per controller or per HA pair or per the entire cluster? The same as the AFF models, the FAS models support up to 12 nodes. If you're running SAN protocols, if you're running NAS only, it's up to 24 nodes in the cluster. Okay, so the first model is the FAS 2700, and there's actually 2 different types here. We've got the FAS 2720 and the FAS 2750. The difference between them is how many internal disks that they support. With the FAS 2700, it's a similar chassis to the AFF A220. Actually, with all of these FAS models, you'll see that they are in basically the same chassis as AFFs are available in as well. The faceplate is different. The faceplate on the AFF models is silver. It's a black faceplate on the FAS systems. And the difference, as you know, between AFF and FAS is the AFF only takes SSDs, the FAS takes SSDs, and it takes the spinning disks as well. But it's not just the disk support. With the AFFs, they're actually performance tuned in their software to be maximized the optimization for those SSD drives. But because the chassis are basically the same, you're going to see that they're the same size and rack units. They've got the same CPU and memory in there, and the interfaces on the back are going to be the same as well. So the AFF A220 and the FAS 2700, very similar in size and the interfaces at the back and the tech specs on there. So they're 2U rack units, 2x64-bit 12-core 1.5 gigahertz CPU. That's per HA pair, so it's 1 CPU each, and it's 64 gig of RAM and 8 gig of NVRAM. Looking at the 2720s, this is where the 2720 and the 2750 are different. The 2720 supports 12 internal drives, and you can see here that they're arranged horizontally. On the FAS systems, it's a bit different than the AFF. Some FAS models support different external disk shelves. With the AFF, they all support the same 2 models of external shelves. With the FAS 2700s, that supports the DS212C, the 224C, the 460C, the 2246, and the 4246. I'll go into detail about the different shelves in the next lecture. With the 2720, it's a maximum of 144 drives. That's 2,111 terabytes of raw capacity. Looking at the 2750 now, so they're both two URAC units. They both look exactly the same unless the front bezel was removed. But with 2750, it supports 24 internal drives and they're arranged vertically now. The same disk shelves as the 2720, as you would expect. Maximum 144 drives, 2,203 terabytes of raw capacity, meaning we haven't applied deduplication and compression. The interfaces on the 2700 in both models, you have a choice. You can choose either 8 times UTA2 ports, which run as either 10 gigabit Ethernet or 16 gig fiber channel. That takes an SFP plus transceiver, so you have to put in the correct transceiver type into the slot, either fiber channel or Ethernet. You also configure it in software as well, whether that's going to be an Ethernet or a fiber channel port. So you can put in the UTA2 in there when you order it from the factory, or you can choose 8 times 10 gigabit Ethernet with RJ45 ports. Other ports that are in there as standard are 4 times 10 gigabit Ethernet SFP plus and 4 times 12 gig mini SAS HD for the connections to your disk shelves. The Ethernet fiber channel UTA ports, that's for connecting out to your clients for incoming connections. The SAS ports are for connecting to external disk shelves. On the 2700, there's no expansion slots, so you cannot put different interface types in there. Having a look at it, so you can see this is exactly the same as it was in the AFF A220. We've got 2 controllers in the chassis there, one on the left, one on the right. On the left of each controller, we've got a couple of SAS ports, then a couple of 10 gigabit Ethernet SFP plus. Then we've got those 4 ports that you have to choose, either the UTA2 ports or the 10 gigabit Ethernet ports. Then we have got a console port for connecting directly to the controller with a console cable for management. And then we have got the E0M port, which is an Ethernet port that we can connect to over IP, again, for management. And we've got our power supplies down at the bottom there. Okay, the next model is the FAS 8200. And this is basically the same chassis as the AFF A300, but with that black faceplate on the front. So same as the A300, it's 3 URAC units. It's got 2 times 64-bit 16-core 1.7 gigahertz CPUs, one in each of the controllers, 256 gig of RAM, and 16 gig of NVRAM. The FAS 8200 does not support internal disks. You're going to need the external disk shelves here. The shelves that are supported is the DS212C, the 224C, the 460C, the 2246, 4246, 4486, and 4243. So pretty much all of the available disk shelves there. It supports up to a maximum of 480 drives, and this 480 drives and array LUNs if you combine. So if you've got both drives and array LUNs, the maximum is 480. What an array LUN is if you're using the flex array feature, where you have got third-party storage behind the NetApp controller and you're using those disks. I covered that earlier on in the first section. Maximum raw capacity is 14,688 terabytes, around 14 petabytes. The interfaces on the FAS 8200, it's got 4 10 gigabit Ethernet RJ45 ports, 4 10 gigabit Ethernet SFP plus, which takes the transceivers. It has got 8 UTA2 ports and 8 of the 12 gig mini SAS HD. And in the FAS 8200, there's 4 PCIe 3 expansion slots. So the same that you got on the corresponding AFF. So you can see the picture is the same as it was for the back of the AFF as well. We've got the 4 SAS ports to connect to our disk shelves on the left. Then a couple of 10 gigabit Ethernet ports here. Then we've got our 4 UTA2 ports, which can be configured for either Ethernet or fiber channel. Another couple of 10 gigabit Ethernet ports with RJ45 ports here. There is our E0M for management over Ethernet. And then our RJ45 console port for connecting a console port directly. And we've got a couple of expansion slots there. So that was the FAS 8200. The last model for our FAS range is the FAS 9000. This, like the AFF A700, is the big boy of the range. It's 8U rack units. 2 CPUs per controller here. The CPUs are 64-bit 18-core, 2.3 gigahertz. And per HA pair, it's 1024 gig of RAM, so a terabyte of RAM, and 64 gig of NVRAM. If we remove the front bezel, same as it was in the AFF, there's no internal disks here. You can see the shelves that are supported here, and it's got a maximum of 1,440 drives or array LUNs and 14,688 terabytes raw capacity. With the FAS 9000, again, same interfaces on the back as the AFF, so there's no onboard client or disk ports on the controllers. It's got 20 I/O module type expansion slots, different than the PCI Express. And looking at a picture of that, you can see there is the 2 controllers in the middle here, and then we've got our I/O modules off to the side. Thanks for watching. If you want to get hands-on practice with NetApp storage for free on your laptop, then you can download my free ebook, which you can see above my head right now. Also, check out my NetApp Storage Complete course, which will teach you everything you could possibly want to know about ONTAP. Thanks.